Hi there, and welcome to update 2.1 for motion matching for Unity. This is a massive update, probably one of the biggest improvements to the smoothness and quality of the animation in a long while. But I've already talked about the updated and reworked blending in my previous dev update, so I'm going to talk about all the other features that come with v2.1. v2.1, by the way, is available to download from the Discord channel to verified users. If you're not verified, send me a PM on the Discord once you join and with your invoice number, and I will give you the verified status. It's also been submitted to the Unity Asset Store and will be available when Unity approve it. Okay, so let's have a look at all the things that you need to know for MXM v2.1. There's a few changes that are a result of the updated blending, but it's not too complicated, but you might be a little bit confused the first time you open it up. So let's have a quick look. Go to our character and our MXM animator component. You'll notice that there's only one blend time now. We used to have match blend time, event blend time, and idle blend time. Once I reworked the blending system, I found that these were just not necessary, and it all worked much better with just one blend time. Now you can still change this at runtime, but you probably don't need to. You will have to probably reduce the blend time. I was previously using pretty high values like 0.7, 0.8 under the old blending system, but now values around 0.3, 0.2, even 0.1 looks better than the old blending system. It'll be more responsive, but a bit less smooth. Just for argument's sake, I'll show you what happens if your blend value is too high, like the old system now. You'll find that the animation gets very, very muddy with a lot of blending, so lots of foot sliding, and it's very unresponsive. Yeah, very unresponsive. So you'll want to crank that down to 0.3, much more responsive, but still pretty smooth. Okay, so there's that. You might also notice that the update interval has changed to update rate. Now, in the back end, this is exactly the same, and it's going to convert your current interval to a rate automatically. So previously I had some value like 0.03333 as an update interval. This is the same as saying 30 Hertz. I've just made this more easy to visualize in your head. 30 Hertz is the update rate for the motion matching search, not for the motion matching plugin. It updates every frame for your blending and all that stuff, but it'll only search at this maximum rate that you put here. I like to keep it at 30 FPS. 30 Hertz. You don't need to go lower. But anyway, that's just more visually easy to see. Alright, what else has changed here? Not really much else. There is something that I did in a previous update that I haven't really talked about. Next pose tolerance test. I recommend checking this on and probably keeping settings like this here. Basically, it's a test that says, hey, if the next natural pose, like if we're just running straight, if the next natural pose takes us to where we want to go, then don't search at all. So just skip the motion matching search. So right now we're running forward. I'm not moving the stick at all, and it's not doing any motion matching searches. I think I'd put the blend rate up again. Yeah, 0.8. So it's doing searches there, and now it's just playing. It's because it detects that the next animation is going to be fine. So it's just a good performance increase, and it just keeps things like loops more stable. So I recommend putting that on. Another thing, if you get Strider, I've added support for Strider. It's through longitudinal error warping. You can look up in the Strider manual how to use that, and I'll probably put a video how to couple it with MXM. Strider is not available yet, but it will be when Unity approves it, so keep an eye out for that. What else have we changed? Okay, just some small things. The MXM trajectory generator added support for climbing. So previously we had this checkbox for strafing mode. Now we have 3 modes. We've got normal, and I'll show the gizmos. Where's my MXM animator? Normal, where you point in the direction you're going. We've got the strafe mode, where the arrows point in the direction that the camera is facing. Obviously, I'm not using the strafe tag, so it's not strafing here. It's for looking at the trajectory. And now we've got climbing as well. And obviously, my character doesn't like that very much. Let's get him set up. There we go. All right, we've got climbing, and climbing just basically puts the trajectory on a vertical face. It's going to be relative to the camera in this case, but you can change that however you like. but that's how you would do a trajectory for climbing. If you got climbing animations, you could try it out. I don't really have enough climbing animations to test it, but it's there for you to use. What else do we have? We have axis locking. Let me turn that climbing off. Okay, we have axis locking on the MXM motion applicator. This is for something like a 2.5D game where you want to keep your character locked on a specific axis. So you can see I can't run this way or anything. You would probably also want to limit your trajectory so that it goes along that axis in such a game. However, I decided not to put an actual axis lock on the trajectory generator because I don't really want to limit it to XYZ. Your game might not be axis aligned in certain places. So what you can do is instead you take custom input and you put in inputs that are only going to give you trajectories along, inputs that are only along the axis that your character runs. So that is there. You're probably not going to use that very much for most people. Okay, so that's most of the runtime stuff. The last thing I want to show is some quality of life improvements to the workflow. So this is the start of a lot of quality of life improvements that I want to make. I want to make the system as easy to use as possible because motion matching is not... yes, it helps you skip a lot of the state machines, and it's really easy to get cool plants and stuff pretty easily, but to refine it can take quite a bit of work because that's just the way games are. So if we go to our preprocessor, I'm going to get a preprocessor here, and I'm actually going to open the MXM demo, the one that comes with the project. Okay, I'll just lock that for now. Where's our scene? Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's have a look at the new timeline preview. So I'm just going to have a look at my scene. If I hit preview now on the MXM timeline, it's going to open up a new scene. Now, if you need to save your previous scene, it'll prompt you to save, so you're not going to lose your stuff. I obviously didn't have any changes on that demo, so it didn't do it. So now we can see this scene. We're not going to have our character obstructed by our game geometry anymore. And so we can see this much easier, and we can refine our tags much easier and put in events. So we've got this trajectory drawing, and you'll notice that it's red during the do not use tags. That's a specific thing for do not use tags, and it actually updates live as I move the tags. So that's cool. You can really visualize your tagging a lot better here, specifically for those. If you've got things with events, so I've got, say, a vault over, we can see that as well. Good way to see your trajectory and what it's actually doing. If I hit on the event, we still got the same contact point arrows that you can play with and do all that stuff. So that is the start of a lot of quality of life improvements. I want to change a lot of things. I want to consolidate and get rid of these editors. They're a bit clunky, and make it into a more bulk editor, but that's going to happen over time. But for now, here's the start. We can hit preview, and the cool thing about this is it takes us exactly to the point where we were working on in our previous scene. It doesn't mess with that, so you can seamlessly go between them, and it shouldn't cause an issue too much. So there you go, another slight improvement that you might notice. It's something that's annoyed me for a long time, and I don't know why I didn't do it until now, is that your foldouts state of your preprocessor is now going to be saved. So when you go back, it'll be the same as it was, instead of resetting like it used to. So that's something. Anyway, I'm very excited about this update, MXM v2.1. This is probably the biggest update in terms of improvements. That's probably all there is to it, and from the front end there's a lot of small fixes in the back end. In fact, there is one more thing I want to show you, some pretty big improvements to the contact system for events. There used to be some issues where it wouldn't be too smooth and it would snap to the contact point on like the last frame of the contact, especially when going over these vaults. However, I've fixed that bug and now it's much smoother. The hand contacts don't snap. We're still just dealing with Unity's terrible character controller there though, and the contacts are just much better and the vaults are just much smoother. So that's something to be happy about. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I hope MXM v2.1 treats you well and beyond. See you next time.